Hello, welcome to Souls Intersect. This reading is for Gemini sun, moon, or rising signs, and it is for March of 2017. I will take you through the cards first. From the top left, we have the Four of Wands, the Ace of Swords, and the Six of Swords. And then the Death card, the Five of Swords, and the Four of Swords. And then on the bottom, the Fortune Fairy, which is like the Wheel of Fortune, the King of Wands, and the Hanged Man. Okay. So with the Five of Swords at the center of the reading, there seems this unavoidable sense of mental conflict or worry. It's also possible that this is something that is a conflict between you and others. However, it's most likely that the aspect of it that's bothering you the most is the way that you are perceiving it. I get the sense that you have these Four Swords cards all packed together up in that right corner. The Ace, the Six, the Five, and the Four. So the sense I'm getting from that is that you're craving this release from whatever it is that's bothering you. But you feel that it almost feels like a block to an ending. So the Death card here feels like actually something that you're craving. I feel like it is working together with the Six of Swords, which is that release. Moving on, in traditional decks, you see it as the two figures in the boat moving on to calmer waters. And that is where you want to be, and you want this new beginning of this Ace of Swords to come through. I don't feel that you're there yet, but I feel that it's coming, especially with Death being that major arcana, and then the Six of Swords and the Ace showing up. But where I feel like you're at right now is more this Five of Swords matched with this Four of Swords. So it feels like inaction matched with mental conflict. And that's why I said it feels like almost this block to being able to get the release that you want from a mental conflict. So when I say mental conflict, my sense intuitively is that I do sense some anger and worry coming through about a situation, it does feel related to someone else. So something is out of sorts. There's disagreements with others. I'm definitely picking up on some of you possibly going through a divorce or finalizing a divorce and waiting for the outcome of that. And it could be in relation to part of the eagerness to hear about that outcome could have to do with a home, because that Four of Wands can also be about a house. But overall, it doesn't have to be the divorce either. I saw the Hanged Man, and I felt intuitively that there's a lot of disagreement with two people who have been in an established relationship. But it could also be with other family members, children, even people at work. The overall sense is that something has already taken place. I don't feel like this is an upcoming thing. It feels like a struggle in some way, but what's bothering you at this point, it's almost like it does feel like it happened in the past, because I feel like there's already been steps taken to try to resolve this. So you know that you're going to get through it, but you're still in the stage where you're full of worry and anxiety, or it could be showing up as confusion for some of you. And then that Four of Swords is just there. It just feels like a tease, almost like this is never going to end sort of feeling. So I'm getting two sides. And that's interesting for a Gemini reading, because you could be going back and forth between two different states too, where one is that you know that there's resolution in your future, and there is, and I see it coming up in the reading, but you also get into this state where you feel like it's never ending. And the Hanged Man can also be about delays. So I feel like there's that stuckness there. That is a mood that you want to be careful with when you get into that state of mind where it feels like this is never ending. I would try to consider situations in the past that felt similar, where you felt like maybe no resolution was in sight, but ultimately it did work out, and maybe not in the time that you wanted or the way that you wanted, but ultimately it did. Try to remember periods like that, because that stuckness is not a good place for you. It's preventing the Six of Swords and the Ace of Swords energy to get to you. And I don't mean that it's delaying the outcome in terms of time, but it's preventing you from even accessing the energy, because the Six of Swords can be healing, and the Ace of Swords can be healing as well, in the sense that it brings clarity and can also bring a new way of thinking. So even if time-wise they're not showing up yet, the energy's there because it's coming up in the reading, so you can access it. But when you get into that blocked state, you're not allowing yourself to. So I would try to consider past situations where a resolution came through when it felt like it never would, because I think that's going to help you in that state. Now, and you have the Fortune Fairy coming up, which is the Wheel of Fortune. So there is that aspect of timing playing into this scenario, and it does feel, once again, like this combination of delays and this sense of waiting and pessimism is coming through. One of the major themes of this is about timing. It's about trying to remind yourself that things will play out in the time that they're supposed to. But in the meantime, with all of this mental energy, Gemini, you absolutely have to focus on ways to ground yourself. And you can use all of the mental energy to your advantage, also being an air sign, by doing what I mentioned, which is using memory and trying to recall other times to try to reassure yourself. So that is one way to try to help get through some of this chaos. But another thing is that Four of Wands is coming through. It feels like it is in stark contrast to a lot of this Swords energy and even the Death card. It also kind of balances that Four of Swords, which is that one block. So the message that's coming through is that something else that might help you if you're feeling blocked and feeling like stuck, like you're not going to get through this, is to try to bring in, well, definitely spiritual energy. So meditation, energy healing, even yoga, even being in nature, or creative energy, which is not necessarily different, but maybe more actively, if you have a creative streak, doing something creative. Sometimes that's the last thing that we want to do when we have mental worry on our mind, but it can be the most healing thing in some of those moments. And I do feel like it's something that could help you while you're feeling both this chaos and also kind of stuck in the chaos. Now, I do want to come to this King of Wands. One thing is that I think it's carrying that message of you tuning into your creativity and spirituality. That's if it's an aspect of you. But I do feel that for a lot of you, this is about another person. I will say that for a lot of you, the energy, this feels like an aggressor. I feel that this person, I don't want to say that they've caused all this chaos, but I'm seeing that wand and its point kind of poking and prodding and stirring up a lot of this. So I do sense some trouble for a lot of you with this King of Wands. It could be a fire sign. It definitely feels for a lot of you Geminis that this is someone who you're in conflict with currently. So it could be a romantic relationship, could be someone that you're divorcing or splitting up from, could just be fighting with. You could be in a relationship and just be fighting with this person. If that's the case, they feel, I don't know, it may be temporary, but they have a streak that it just feels like they're being a troublemaker, and it's concerning to this reading. I really get that sense of poking and prodding. So I'm hoping for most of you that this is someone, if it's a romantic partner, that it's someone that's moving out of your life, or you're in the process of going through that, because I feel that their energy just feels for you like it would continue to cause conflict and wreak havoc. Unless it's a stage for them and it's something that they can get through. So there's some hope there. But right now, whatever state they're in, it doesn't feel like a positive one. Doesn't necessarily feel violent or abusive. It don't mean to cause further concern, but it feels like they are trying to get their way, and there may even be some gossip involved or doing something behind the scenes that is worsening this, or at least they're trying to do that, and so you're feeling the energy of that too. So yeah, this does feel like an energy that eventually it would be best to have depart from the scene, because it's just fire in its worst sense. I also get the sense that that might be some of the block, because that message doesn't come through easily. So again, some of you may already be in the process of eliminating this person from your life. It could also be a work thing too, so this might not be about a romantic partner for some of you, but as I was saying that, I really sense that that might be what the block is for some of you. Maybe having trouble coming to terms with the fact that they are not who they were before. I really feel like they've been through a shift. And at least the state that they're in right now is very much in conflict with you and very much a negative presence for you. So I would encourage you to consider at least time away from this energy and see how that impacts your mental state. I know that might be harder to do if it's a work situation, but it does feel that this person should be out of your space as much as possible. That's a strong message that's coming through. It doesn't feel like an easy one. All right. If you have any questions about this or about my services, feel free to email me at soulsintersect@gmail.com. I've reworked some of the information on my site, and the link is below. You can read about my services and my approach and some very specific details about what it might be like to get a reading from me. And again, just email me with any additional questions. Take care. Thank you.